Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you the pet fence we put in for our little puppy dog here. So while I have him here, here's the collar that goes on him. And there's some settings on the collar in the instructions and stuff, but I'm not going to go over any of that. I'm just going to show you what I did as far as installing it. Like I say, the settings on the collar and the settings for this, you can see the little dial here. But it kind of, the only thing this does is control how close to the fence it can get before it beeps and does a little static shock. Anyways, here's where it's plugged in the garage. I'll kind of follow that out. So I bought some electrical conduit, as you can see, to kind of keep it clean. We keep our trash cans here, so I wanted to keep it up and get away from being pulled out of the wall. So it runs over here, and then this little black pipe, I kind of pulled it out a little bit. I had it tucked kind of all underneath here, but I just pulled it out where you can see it. So these little black pipes are some irrigation hoses that I had left over. But anyways, so I wrapped them in the areas that are hard to get to. You could probably get some bends or some elbows for the conduit, but anyways, I have a little black pipe there, and then it runs underneath here out and then down. And I'll show you an overview here in a minute and show you kind of how I ran it. But so I ran it along this edge here, and I found a spot where you can see the wire. So it's underneath all this rock. I kind of dug out all along here and buried it, under this rock, and it goes out. So if you want your animal to be able to cross the line without it, give them that static shock, maybe you can see here, you twist the wire together. So if you twist it together, it cancels out the signal in the wire itself, and allows them to cross it without getting that shock, or that static shock. So in the areas where you're just trying to run it out to the yard, so I'm just showing you kind of where I ran it. It's all along this edge where the wire is twisted, and it's twisted, as you can see, maybe you can, down here. I buried it under here, and you can see the twist on it. It's not a whole lot, but apparently it's enough to keep from shocking our dog, because he has no problem going across here. So it runs under here, and I need to fill in. I'll show you what I did a little further down the driveway, as far as filling in the cracks where I ran the wire. But basically I ran the wire kind of following this, and then as I got out here, we're getting towards the end of the yard, I kind of veered it out this way a little bit. And the reason I did that is because I used this crack in the driveway again to go across. You can see the wire here, and then I filled this crack so it goes all the way across. So basically the wires are twisted together all the way down to about this point, and then one wire goes this way and one wire goes this way across the front yard. But that's how they connect. It's one single loop all the way around. And again, I'll show you a little map of what I did. But again, you can see here. So they're twisted together, and they end in the garage. So one loop goes this way, one loop goes this way, and this is where they're kind of tied together, I guess. So it's one solid loop. Again, I'll show you that diagram, but basically starts here, goes all the way around the yard, ends here, and these are kind of tied together all the way back up to the garage where I just came from. But you can see here, the wire. I do need to put something around that. So when I weed eat down here the past couple times, I've been being real careful around this area until I get something to cover that wire. But it goes all the way across and comes out on the other side. So I have one loop that kind of covers around the back. It goes all the way around the back of the house, and then this loop where I've tied in goes all the way around the front, and again around the back of the house. But I will show you the tool that I used, and right now is a really good time because it's wet. So let me go grab that. I'll be right back. So here's the what I used where I ran the wire across the driveway in the expansion joint. I just put this. I believe it's actually for cracks in concrete to kind of fill those in. I just put it over top of the wire. That way the wire wouldn't come out, and no worries about driving over it with a car or anything. So that's what I used across that entire expansion joint to kind of hide the wire as I ran across the driveway. All right, so here's the little edging tool that I used to bury the entire wire. So pretty much I got a hole here already, but you use both feet and you kind of open up the hole there, and as you get close you can see it just again, it's just an edger, so it just puts a nice groove in the ground. And then here's a piece of the wire that I used, and basically you just go through and you push it down in that groove there, and that's pretty much all you do to bury it. I think they give instructions on how deep to go. I think it's 1 to 2 inches maybe is what it says. I can't recall, but that's pretty much it. You can see, pretty easy as long as you have a continuous cut in the yard. It's easy to tuck the wire in. I installed 2 rolls, 2 500-foot rolls, so it's about 1,000 feet. Again, just using this hand tool. It did take a little bit of time, but pretty easy to do. So okay, so here's kind of the overview, kind of the plan view looking down. When I was looking at routing the wires for the electric fence. At the house and the garage, of course, and then some trees and some other little flower beds and things that I needed to kind of work my way around. So I knew coming out of the garage I wanted kind of the path of least resistance. I didn't want to have to go across too many. There's a sidewalk back here and part of the driveway, so I was trying to pick the easiest path. So again, I showed you earlier, kind of along this edge of this little flower bed here, kind of fit the best for me. So after kind of looking at all this, here was kind of the first plan. I actually unrolled all the spools of wire. That was a little bit difficult because it's rolled up on a little 5-inch roll, and then when you try to unroll it, it's still kind of wound up. So kind of getting it straightened out and put in place. But you can see, this is where I wanted to each strand to leave, go around, and then kind of come back. These little dotted areas are where I twisted the wire so that our dog could cross over that without getting down his collar, picking up the signal from the wire. So these are all wrapped together all the way down to this point. So here's the first plan. I kind of laid out all the wire in this area, and then I started digging my little trench with the edger and burying the wire in the ground. So as I started doing that, I started kind of here and worked my way across the front. But as you push it in the ground, your wire it just shrinks up a little bit, your overall shape. So I had to go. I was going to try to go outside of this tree, but I ended up having to come on the inside of the tree. So what I had to do was basically take all the wire back up, and instead of going on the outside, I had to route it back on the inside because I couldn't just go over top of this big 20-foot tree. So that was a mistake that I made. I didn't realize it would shrink up that much. So again, as I was working my way around, again the wire was shrinking more and more. Kind of as I made my way around here, I lost quite a bit of space here in this corner. So I ended up cutting it a little bit short. This was again, I think about 1,000 feet of wire. It was 2 rolls. So 500 feet came in the kit, you know, that had the controller and the collar and everything in it, and then I bought an extra 500 feet of wire. And I spliced it together, I don't know, somewhere up in this area in the back. Pretty easy to do. It comes with a little housing. You know, you just splice the wire together and you put it in this little housing and you can bury that. It's supposed to be watertight. But anyways, I should have bought an additional roll and just ran the wire where I needed it and then had extra left over and just cut it. I didn't do that. I thought 2 would be enough. I don't think I measured beforehand. I just kind of eyeballed it and thought it would be enough, but it wasn't. So I think they were about 25 bucks a piece. So I should have done that, and you know, I could have gained quite a bit more yard. But for our dog, he's pretty small, and what we have here is plenty of room for him to roam and run around. So not all bad, but I should have bought an extra roll of wire. Anyways, that's kind of the few points I wanted to make here. Was, you know, you got to work around whatever's already in your yard. So that's about everything I wanted to show on this. That there are instructions, you know, that come in the box as far as you know, not making any sharp corners. I know right here it looks like a sharp corner, but there's instructions in the box on not making sharp corners and kind of how deep to bury the wire and things like that. So, you know, if you get a kit, I'll let you read through that and do that. I just want to show you the kind of the tools that I use, the things that weren't in the box, I guess, you know, that didn't really show. You know, the tools you needed and kind of how to plan your routing. And I think it may have mentioned something about twisting the wires, but it's still kind of confusing. So I just want to show that real quick. You know, like I say, the things that were not included, the instructions that